Formal.
Yeah.
Formal.
The wordplay, sit in the first place, written the verse state, hitting the verse spray, splitting these first base, minions a curse day, missing the third day, risen the words they wishing they could be put in position. We run everything from the abs to the streets, just bask in the beats. These minuscule tags are only impacting at least. It's probably not an actual leash, we're just trying to react to the beast. Just the vandals advance with the heat, carrying the mantles in the breach, the man's hands moving advance of the reach.
Hey guys, welcome to the lab. Welcome back to another episode of Sundaze with the Clink Room. Today joined by my good friend Josh. Josh Volz. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Good. Appreciate you taking the time to jump on and be a guest again on the show. Really excited to go through the week's happenings at the Clink Room. And yeah, let's do it. You ready?
Good.
All right. So Clink Room had themselves a pretty strong week, I would say. We had the return of the Fresh Colorway kind of influencer packs. So this week's drop featured the Grimmace. So last week, if you guys tuned in, the Grimmace joined us via audio and kind of gave his take on the pack. What were your initial thoughts?
It's nice to see some variation with bringing back some of the designs that we haven't really seen a ton of with the Fresh Colorways.
Yeah, I think for the most part, most of these haven't been brought back, right?
So
Yeah, I think all of them are new, right? Some of them are like part twos and like part of like a bigger series, like the Boogeyman and the Bitter Rivals. But I think for the most part, he did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned the Bulldog one was meant to kind of match more of that Coyote colorway with the chrome.
Oh yeah,
the brown and the orange, but due to legal things and stuff, they had to change it to blue. So that's a little bit unfortunate. I still think the hat came out pretty cool. But yeah, let's kind of break them down. So I kept his pictures on the slides.
Mm-hmm.
So we have these three here. What are your initial thoughts? It was kind of like he gave us three mini capsules, right? Like two and two. So what are your thoughts on these ones?
Well, so I love the choice in designs. I can't get behind the Knicks colorway.
Yeah.
As a Pacers fan, I cannot get behind the Knicks colorway, but I think they're extremely well designed. I think the color choices are great for them. I love the Fox one. I think that colorway is super cool, and it's always turned out great every time they've embroidered it. It looks super great. But yeah, I think that these are all super solid.
I do like how he used 3 or 6 different side patches. He didn't really any. Some fit better than others, like the one with the skull side patch with the one on the left fits like remarkably well. It's funny, you see Knicks, I see Mets, but difference. The middle one, the sneaker one, is cool. He kind of has a hook to like the Royal Ones, so kind of flip from the original like black, red, white that we're normally seeing with these kind of sneaker hooks. So that was like a cool little touch there. And then his other three. Oh, sorry, cut you off.
That's probably my favorite. The was that Aurelian? That was that I can't remember who did that, but that's one of my favorites. Probably my favorite design out of the drop.
Yeah, and that one's at least a little bit less Mickey, right?
Yeah.
So the artist on that was Moses. So we haven't seen too much. San Diego? Huh. I wonder if that's Casey's son.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's from San Diego. I've never seen. Yeah, maybe it was something his son floated him, and then Casey did it. Because I've never seen that before. Like I've never seen that artist before. But either way, good little 3-pack there, and then we got the next 3 here. So Ephra's back, and then 2 40 pieces.
Yeah, I mean these are all classics. I mean the 40s is classic in that series, and then the other 2 are just old school, like just great, like older Clink designs that work are just like timeless. for whatever you throw them on.
Yeah, the Boogeyman is just such a cool series. I almost used to think I liked part 1 better, but now that I've seen it in this way, and he kind of just took that energy, that yellow energy. Originally, it was like on a purple hat with orange. This time, he put a blue hat with the yellow. It really makes that like really pop off. You could really see.
The embroidery on the hand is fantastic too.
Yeah, such a smooth piece. But yeah, I'm with any one of these three. 40 Ephra, give me them all. So mine actually just arrived today, and shout out to our boarder in charging me millions of dollars in duties. But I ended up picking up 2 from the pack. I got Ephra's Bulldog here. Just a smooth piece. I would obviously prefer this to be orange, but the blue gray is kind of cool too. And then this one, just electric, man. He's got the rings from that caffeine pack, and then just a cool little piece. And he already posted all like the shoe hooks, which he does normally. But yeah, like you mentioned, look at the embroidery on the hand.
Yeah,
just a real smooth piece. But yeah, I think he did a great job. We might see more influencers in the coming weeks, kind of their take on their packs. So I'm really excited about that. And then
you see everybody's like individual style too come out when they pick their own, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And the next sticks we'll cover. So these 6 designs are their last call. So you'll have until midnight Eastern tonight to get your pre-order in at a reduced rate. The first 3 we'll cover is Seamus and Gemini teaming up for Otter Destruction, and then 2 Wind Studio pieces, Electric Freedom and Sip Happens. What are your thoughts on these?
Yeah, I love Otter Destruction. I think that the way that Seamus is able to do the shapes and things without line work is always a pretty cool thing, and it turns out pretty neat in the end.
Yeah,
the 2 are good too. The Electric Freedom, it's pretty classic, traditional tattoo style, kind of neon-y. And then the Sip Happens, I think is fun. I really like the inside the glass there. You can see the ice cubes and stuff. I think it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I like Sip Happens. I kind of wish there was less background.
Yeah.
To just kind of just let that character. The character's just so fun. He's in the drink, and yeah, you get that negative kind of effect under the water. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But just to let like those other like parts kind of stand out, I wish it just didn't have a background. Like you kind of lose the glasses a little bit. I think that was like a cool kind of feature. But yeah, colorway is kind of smooth, like that Miami Vice kind of colorway. Otter Destruction is just such a fun hat. Done in that baseball team's colors from over there, just like just a cool little piece. Electric Freedom, smooth. We've seen that done before. I think Aurelian had the first one, just that swallow, but swallows have been done forever. Tattoo culture. So yeah, cool 3-pack here, and then the next 3. Splash, Fearless, and Shadow Battles. Jay Hafayao and Poinex Co. Jumping into the fray. What are your thoughts here?
Splash is so cool. I think the movement on the net and the way it turns into the water, I think it's super cool. I love that it translates that term, that shot so well. Fearless, I think is super cool. I think it gives that the ferocity of the dogs. It shows that super well. I know we've seen I don't know if it's intentionally supposed to be like a Cerberus type thing, but I know we've seen that before. But it kind of gives it a more grounded, kind of realistic version of that, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Shadow Battles, a lot of really cool movement in that. On the battlefield. I think that it'll turn out pretty cool. I kind of worry about the axe, like the handle, and but I think that it will turn out. They're so good at realizing that fine detail that like the colors in it really cool.
Yeah, for Shadow Battles, it's such a cool piece. I think the original one was like a black and gray. They kind of gave this one a little bit more color, which is cool. Kind of got that like tequila sunrise from like yellow, orange to red. That's really interesting. A lot of small little points.
Yeah.
Like the little weapons on the ground. So we'll kind of be interesting to see how that kind of turns out. The spear is really thin. But yeah, but it's a cool piece for sure. I think they actually made the characters a little bit bigger by bringing them more forward, which is cool.
I think maybe having somebody like cut outside the circle, like break through the circle a little bit,
Yeah,
like maybe with that axe or something like that would be kind of cool. But I think,
yeah,
I mean, it's a neat piece either way.
yeah, yeah. It should embroider. It should embroider well, but we'll see. Like you said, Splash is just so cool. You can almost hear it
Yeah.
while you see it too. It's like one of those things you kind of feel. So he just kind of captured, that basketball thing. If you play basketball, watch basketball, it's just such a cool kind of rendition. And yeah, I'm with you with the Fearless. It kind of reminds me of the Cerebus. Cool piece. I wish you added like a little random elements here and there to make like the left different from the right, so it's not totally symmetrical. But I understand some people like those designs.
Yeah.
So, it's a cool piece nonetheless. All three are really good examples of good art, I would say.
Yeah.
And then all right, so now moving forward, the next 20 designs will be up for Monday Morning Critz. So tomorrow, make sure you vote on the designs you like for a better chance of seeing them in pre-order for Friday. So first up, we got Slow Jams. Bushel of Awesome teamed up with Heather for this kind of sloth listening to music. What are your thoughts here?
That was fun. I think I saw this one. I like the kind of relaxed pose of the sloth and then kind of jam into the music. I think the little smile. Does look a little angry, like like maybe mischievous looking,
like a smirk almost.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm curious about what kind of music it's listening to, but I think the design's fun. The colorway is interesting. Probably not something that I would wear, myself colorway wise, but I think it's definitely stands out among like just like solid black or something like that. So
Yeah.
I think it fits the design.
Definitely. Yeah, it's got that beef and broccoli colorway with like a tan under, almost a Vegas goldish under. Yeah, I'm with you. Like the name is cool, it makes sense, but yeah, his expression doesn't. It makes me feel like he's listening to some like metal or something. Like give him a little, a little more of a chill vibe or something. But yeah, it's right there.
You could like the sloth like has the big shadowy parts around the eye, kind of makes it look like death metal-y, like black metal type stuff.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of a cool little turn if there were like a part 2 or something like that.
Yeah, he definitely seems like he's listening to something with a lot of drums, kind of rockish. But yeah, cool piece nonetheless. Number 2, From the Ashes, Ink Park.
Yeah, I mean his flames are probably my favorite flames and Clink stuff. I think the way that he's able to pull off the twists and turns of each of the ends of the flames are probably the best that I can think of. Yeah, I mean the beat. I mean it's a neat piece.
Yeah, it's a cool piece. We saw them kind of make this shift. So Seamus and Rusty had one that hit pre-order called Combustion.
That
they took off of the red crown, like a flamey kind of thing, and they took it off a red crown and they put on a navy crown. And what that did was it pumped up the contrast and really made it look fiery.
Right.
I feel like this needs almost that, just so you can kind of see the bird. Right now, the bird is kind of tonal. Even the dark spots on the bird are essentially very similar to the crown color. So it would be cool to see this on a darker crown.
Yeah,
just to really get that bird to kind of just that phoenix to kind of like rise out of the ashes almost, so to speak. Like right now he's just in flames.
Yeah,
right now. So it's good art. But, Yeah.
Definitely changing the crown, maybe change the line work around the eyes and that
Yeah,
spot
that's
around
gotta
the
be
teeth and
pumped
stuff.
up darker, I think.
Yeah.
Even if it was like a darker than that maroon or burgundy that they used, almost like a brown almost.
Mhm.
I would opt for black probably, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's still a cool piece. Um, yeah, good working part. Number 3, step into time.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts here?
The shape work of the steps and stuff is really cool. I think that would turn out really well.
Yeah.
Kinda like, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like a statue, or, the real kinda Reaper.
Mhm.
The size of the skulls to the figure kinda.
Yeah, the skulls are way bigger.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm not it kinda makes the figure of the Reaper a little less imposing because the skulls are so big that I feel like maybe you'd want a little bit more attention to the Reaper, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. But we're kind of getting reapered out too with him a little bit. He's really stepping into motif. I don't blame him though, because it's working. It's getting him into the shop or anything like that. But like, um,
Yeah, I still dig Reaper designs. I feel like I
yeah,
need, like, a little bit extra to them now, and,
yeah,
I mean, this
yeah,
has a little bit more to it than just, like, a Reaper, but I feel like maybe just more focus on the actual character
yeah,
might help it a little bit.
yeah. Almost wish he did something to either like break the clock, like just to say like
Mhm.
you're out of time and he's coming to get you, or yeah, stepping into time. Right? I don't know, the name doesn't really do it
Yeah.
for me. He's kind of just standing there too.
Yeah,
But
I've tried to not pay as much attention to names anymore
yeah,
because sometimes they get changed and stuff like
yeah,
that, and maybe not convey what the artist maybe initially thought it, when they posted it or submitted it.
for sure, for sure.
Um, but yeah, I guess I don't understand the stepping into time when it feels like they're coming down the steps
Hmm.
also.
Yeah, yeah. But all right, he's almost running out of time.
Yeah,
That would be like a better name for it. He's coming out of the time.
that
But
would fit more with death too.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. All right, win. Number 4, Kong Rock. What are your thoughts here?
I like the movement of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that the proportions are good. I think that uh, I mean everything's the shapes are cool. Yeah, I think it's got some really great movement.
yeah. It's a cool piece. I just feel like this almost feels like a sticker.
Yeah,
Not really like meant for embroidery. There's parts of it um that are like super thick, and then there's other parts that are like super thin, and it's very hard to embroider like that. It might be a thing of um this specific clinker just not having a lot of hats either go through or whatever, but like um there's parts of it that I just don't think that'll embroider well. Like that part around the eyes, the mouth, the nose, like those are so small,
yeah,
and it's cool when it's like digital art, and I think that's part of it too. It's like when you draw and you put together things like this, you can zoom in and work on specific parts and then zoom out. When you zoom out, you got to realize that like those things got to be punched in with actual um thread and needle. All right, so I just think that's just like a lack of
I
maybe
guess what it
experience.
looks like to me is that the designer sketched it out by hand or digitally or whatever,
Yeah,
and then brought it in to Illustrator or whatever, and vectorized it, and it kind of maybe changed some of the shapes and stuff. So I could see like maybe on the paper or however it was done, initially, it was a lot tighter and stuff, and maybe when it got, digitized and vectorized, it might have shapes might have got a little adjusted. But I don't know the workflow of the person or anything like that. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Moving forward, number 5, Llama in the Woods. Seamus is back. I think it's part 2
Hmm.
of this different colorway. Maybe added some extra llamas, like the silhouettes. I don't remember them
Yeah.
being there or the birds being there.
Right. I can't, like, a couple of them look like parrots, and a couple of them look like
Like
crows or
crows.
something,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's kind of spooky. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be, but
yeah,
it's kind of ominous. You know,
yeah.
the
Oh,
kind of
I'm
dead,
gonna lose my screen for a
twisted.
sec. Yeah, definitely. Hold on 1 second. It's back now. My second monitor, for whatever reason, it
Oh
flickers
yeah.
sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, cool piece. You don't normally see this colorway either. It's like a dark brown burnt wood with like this Everest green.
Yeah.
Yeah, this color was introduced after the Seattle Mariners All-Star Game
Okay.
2023. So yeah, it's a cool color. Copper, I think, looks real well with it. So like that kind of light brown you see in the trees, that could be like a
Hmm.
copper too, just to kind of give it that metallic sheen. But yeah, this is almost like a landscape without actually having any landscape
Right.
too. Which is a cool like alternative way to do it, which is um pretty cool for him to kind of think outside the box, continuing his llama series as well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's immediately identifiable as a llama. I mean, the twists and the shapes and stuff of the branches. It's done super well, and it's like immediately you notice it as a llama.
yeah. One thing I do worry about is this kind of like macaw parrot thing
Hmm.
sitting right on the seam. It's
Oh.
really hard to embroider that. I just would either shift this guy over a tiny bit and just have him not on the seam. But that's such a small, like nitpicky thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, uh, you just want to avoid like really small pieces on the seam of the hat, just
Right.
because how it embroiders and how it might misshape the piece too. So yeah, good piece here.
Mhm.
Number 6, Bonsai. Number 2. We originally saw this. I believe it's a collaboration with Flash, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
But he took it to kind of like just blot it out. This is black and red. I think the original. I don't look up the original color, but I feel like it was way
Yeah.
more bright. But yeah, what are your thoughts here?
I really like this design. I think it's a lot of fun. It kind of, you've seen like a few bonsai trees in the past, and I think there's one that just finished in the shop, or one that is still up there. But I like this as a fun twist on that, and I'm not sure I like the drips on it. I
Yeah,
think I'm looking up the other one.
yeah. The original one was all blue, kind of my monochromatic, and it had no drips.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the drips on it. I don't think it needs that. I think they're, well, like the volume of the shape of the drips and stuff, I think looks
Yeah,
good. I just don't know if it really needs it. I think the bonsai tree, I think itself is cool, and I don't know if it really needs it. Like we said about the shadow battles one, if you had maybe the branches kind of cut out of the circle or something like that.
just breaking the plane. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, but I really like this one in the versions that he's done, and it's the way that the bones kind of twist around and do all this stuff. It's pretty cool.
yeah. It's interesting how he took the original piece, which was like basically monochromatic blue,
Hmm.
and just put it on a black hat. Just let that and like that middle figure just be like the central piece
Hmm.
now. And then with the background, he used a lot of like muted reds to kind of really pump the contrast out. It was a cool trick he did.
Hmm.
I'm with you. I almost wish he just made the middle piece maybe like 25% bigger, or just
Hmm.
shrink the background
Yeah.
to just have it just be the main star attraction. And maybe you can even cut out a couple of the tombstones in the background,
Hmm.
but just have that be the main piece. That way, each skull can be a little bit bigger. Each bone can be a little bit bigger. But yeah, this is definitely a cool piece. I
Mhm.
like how you didn't even try to do the teeth.
Teeth,
There's
yeah.
no way. You're no
Yeah, I
shot.
think he
Right?
knows.
Yeah, yeah, but awesome piece nonetheless. All right, moving forward, number 7, Soundwaves and Gemini got together for Condiment Week. I would assume. I mean, it's
Mhm.
kind of a condiment, but wasabi.
Yeah.
Uh, famous Budweiser commercial back from the 90s. Good piece.
Yeah, that sounds cool. It's funny. Um, does the headband, does it say Clink or something like that on it? Do we
I,
know?
I don't know. Well, I can look it up, but he's definitely got some, I believe, some sake there in his hands, most
Yeah.
probably. Let me look at Soundwaves. And then it was a scary movie that had a Ghostface
Oh yeah.
um,
Yeah.
kind of involved with that, so that kind of reminds me of that too.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really
yeah,
fun. I like the eyes and tongue sticking out.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a funny piece. I
It
don't
almost,
know, like, without the name, I don't know if, like, just walking down the street, if someone would know exactly what it is, but I don't know if that's really even, valid,
yeah,
but
yeah. I do like how the ginger
mhm.
is his tongue. Kind of reminds me of Slimer from
Yeah,
uh, Ghostbusters. I don't know if you need the Japanese thing here,
yeah,
but it kind of goes. This hand is little um little different, but
yeah.
you know it's a cool piece. That's a big chunk of wasabi too, man. That'll mess up your day. But yeah, it's a cool. I like he's got like this kind of funky green under,
Mhm.
brown black. Yeah, yeah, good piece all around. Uh, number 8, Road Warrior. Um, Rafael jumped into Armor Week, which was last week's challenge. Looks like.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I saw a few, kinda armor-inspired pieces from him over the past week, and, they're all, pretty cool. He does a really good job of, showing the angular kinda details of metal surfaces and stuff like that, along
Hmm.
with, some of the highlights. Um, the I mean, the, bear with the helmet, it gets the point across. I mean, I don't it doesn't I don't know if there's a story behind it, but I think that, it's done well. And I don't think, with armor, sometimes you don't need to be the most shiny thing in the world. So, that dark gray with the lighter gray, just serving as the highlight, I think works fine for what it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool piece, kind of channeling that like inner Bret Hart black and pink with
Yeah,
the silver and the gray, which is an awesome colorway.
yeah,
Um, it's not like a boring pink either. It's almost like a beetroot
yeah,
um, pink. I don't know if I love the color of the bear, but I don't know what I would change it to either.
right.
Black bear, you wouldn't be able to see anything. Polar bear, mm, and then brown bear, I don't think goes with the colorway. So I
Hmm.
don't really fault him for picking that kind of like a tannish color.
Right.
Um, it's just off rip. You kind of like think like, is that a tiger? Is
Yeah.
that a panther? Potentially, obviously it's a bear, but
Right.
there are like elements of other animals. I feel like, um,
Be cool
I
if he was a
do,
little bit more beat up too. Maybe like a
yeah,
broken
a little
tooth,
more
or
weathered. Give it a
like
couple scratches
maybe
on the armor.
yeah, make the ear, like, make like an ear like sliced up or something like that. Make the tufts of the sides of his face like kind of a little bit more scraggly and stuff, and
Yeah,
just kind of like have him, and maybe one eye like
scar.
blacked
Yeah,
out, or
yeah,
have it look like it was sliced, and he's like got one eye or something like that.
yeah. I'm
And then
with
maybe
that.
have like a scratch through the helmet so it kind of tells the rest of that story. But um, yeah, I mean, as a fresh warrior bear or something like that, I think that works pretty cool. But just a little bit more, a couple more story elements or something. But
Hmm.
I
Definitely.
think it's pretty strong.
Yeah, for sure. And great tag team too from the '90s, the Road Warriors. Moving forward, another armor kind of
Hmm.
piece. Milos got the Spartan Kong. He went a little different this, so he put the
Yeah.
Kong in almost the Centurion helmet. What are your thoughts here?
So yeah, like this stuff that he's done with the face is kind of like something that I was picturing for
Yeah,
that bear. Like,
yeah,
make him look like he's been through, survived a bunch of battles, or he's like conquered a bunch of stuff or something like that. Just make him look like he's just, he's, lived a life of, battle and conquest or whatever. But um the way that the face is rendered with the shadow, and you can just see, those highlights and of the purple, and his eye cut out and stuff like that. I think it's kind of like what I picture as like a warrior, that's seen a ton of stuff throughout his life.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Like him not having that one pupil of the eye.
Hmm.
If we go back to Raphael's, his both don't have pupils,
Hmm.
so that like at least one of them is begging for like some type of
Yeah,
scar or
just
something like that Milos ended up using. You see that kind of like wound kind of starts with the helmet and then right
hmm
into his face, which is such a cool thing. I almost feel like he's begging to show just a little bit of teeth.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, like his little snarl, like up
yeah,
there. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, just like half a tooth maybe, but
yeah,
yeah, this is a rad piece. I do feel like it's a little light on like the width of it. I almost feel
yeah.
like you need to stretch it out a little bit, but good piece, man.
Yeah. I don't know if
Yeah,
there's something else you could kind of fan along the sides too to kind of add a bit more volume on the sides,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it doesn't look so thin with the spears. Um,
yeah. I don't know what he would do. That's the problem because the spear in itself is just so thin.
Maybe you could.
Uh,
So the only thing, like, this is really, nitpicking, but like the spears don't really line up if you go.
yeah,
My
if you make straight lines, I was
Yeah,
looking
so I
at that
mean,
too.
maybe if you moved if you lowered the top, like make them match up so a little bit, more down, the tips are down by his shoulders a bit more, or his neck, then
Mhm.
maybe that would help with, some of the weight of the design, having the wider section down towards the bottom would, maybe help everything feel a little bit uh
Yeah,
proportional or something, I guess. I don't know how to.
yeah, yeah. Kind of like how the Pittsburgh Pirates do that crossbat Jolly
Yeah.
Roger thing.
Hmm.
Like the actual, if you look at the logo, the bats aren't obviously to scale too,
Right.
so that helps with the weight of looking at it. And the pirate itself is very wide. He's
Hmm.
got like a big head, bandana. I think that's what's kind of lacking the balance. Yeah, the spear's not lining up too, is tripping me out a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was glad that you mentioned it. But yeah, this is like a solid piece though,
Oh
nonetheless.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, like a lot of the times when we talk about this stuff, it just seems like so like little stuff because,
No, no, no.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Everything we say is just and it's off rip too. There's a lot of times like, yeah, I put the slides together, but I don't try I try not to really look in and look at the details. So a lot of these
Hmm.
times we're kind of looking at these the first time. But even like if you look at this Kong, how
Yeah,
these pencils
they don't line
they
up.
line up a little bit better, but they start lower
Yeah.
and then it kind of makes it feel heavier here.
Hmm.
I think the tips being this high on the head
Yeah.
makes it feel really light around this
Yep.
area. So that's all we're saying.
Hmm.
And this gorilla even fans out a lot.
Right.
So yeah, it's a good piece though. Number 10, Flanagan, um, is bringing us a Grace. He's doing that trick that a lot of clinkers are doing with the tonal outline.
Hmm.
I'm seeing beautiful piece. I think this is a sea glass colorway or sea foam or beach glass, one of those kind of like minty colors. What is your thought here?
Yeah, he has a really great way of using, the thick lines in big shapes and stuff, and still allowing it to, have that kind of beauty to it, like when he
Yeah,
does the birds and stuff.
yeah,
And I think this one, is kind of the antithesis of this. It's like he uses all these, like heavy lines and big shapes and stuff, but then still gets um the idea of it being a really beautiful bird, um and makes it work with the colors too.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there's almost too much of this like kind of beach glass kind of teal colors. Um, I would probably opt to do something like a more neutral undervisor, maybe like a gray,
Hmm.
or even that dark teal would work too that he used.
Hmm.
Um, kind of, I can't tell if this is a dove or a pigeon. And his head is just totally looking back the other way. I know they can
Yeah.
do that pose too, but um, reminds me a little bit of that kid from Dumb and Dumber when they sold him the bird. But yeah, pretty bird, pretty bird. But yeah, this is a cool piece. It's done nice, no disrespect, but um, yeah, I just feel like the colors are cool and interesting, much like we saw Seamus kind of use that Everest green.
Hmm.
We're seeing like this teal that's kind of like not used too often. So like it makes time. I mean, it makes sense during the time right now. It's like kind of we're leading into spring,
Hmm.
almost Easter. It's a cool piece.
Yeah.
All right.
I kind of wish that
Oh,
the flower, sorry, that the
yeah. No problem.
flower on the one that comes out, I guess, on our right side,
Yeah.
um maybe like came out a little bit more, or did something else.
Yeah. Or it's
But
almost not even needed
yeah.
because if you make the flower in front of like below that bigger, you almost
Hmm.
don't need that side. So that way it still remains balanced. But
Right.
everything's cool in threes too.
Yeah.
Um, Number 11, mariachi mushroom design with Jake. What are your thoughts here?
It's fun. I like like how underneath the top of the mushroom, I guess, like you see the lines all, curve out. Gives a lot of really great dimension, kind of leading underneath, back under the top of the forehead, I guess. Um, but everything's, rendered in a way that it shows, shape with the shadow on the, kind of the belly portion underneath the guitar and everything.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, it looks like a fun, like, video game kinda character
Yeah,
almost in a way.
yeah, like an alternative like Mario character.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely a cool piece. I do like how like that kind of like the underneath of that hat, that sombrero,
Mhm.
um, is kind of like the frills of
Yeah.
like a mushroom. So that's kind of
Mhm.
cool. I don't know if I love the outline of the cactuses and the
Yeah,
of the background too. You almost don't need the ground if
yeah.
he's already on like a stone color hat. Um, but yeah, it's a cool piece. Uh,
Yeah, you
he
might.
does. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like he does some cool tricks where some stuff's outlined and some stuff's
Yeah.
not. But like you lose a bit of it with some parts of it. So you gotta like remember when stuff gets embroidered, it's almost like you almost got to think of it like screen printing or like
Mhm.
layers where you just go like color on top of color on top of color. So there's a spot I would focus in on here where you're almost layering in like 3 to 4 colors in one like pass almost
Mhm.
because you almost have to draw uh the color of the guitar. So you're probably not gonna do the background of the body underneath that, but you'll probably still have to do the guitar. And then you have the white, and then you have that kind of tannish color on top where that kind of sits on the uh on the guitar strings,
Mhm.
right? And then you got this little piece of brown here that's really dark, and then you got like this darker tan, and then the tan here. So
Yeah.
there's just areas where there's just multiple colors getting drawn or like stitched on top of each other.
Mhm.
Because like for example, like this, how you see how it kind of checkers.
Yeah.
they're not gonna do like the checkers and then do like the white spots in between.
Right.
They're probably gonna have to do like that kind of tan color and then draw the line on top. So even there, that like you're seeing a lot of places where there's potentially like 3, maybe 4 colors that are layered on top of each other,
Yeah.
which makes the thing potentially more muddy, I guess.
When guitars are hard because,
Yeah.
you have to have some sort of string in there,
Yeah.
but, when you're dealing with, like, what you're talking about, there's not a lot of leeway in there to give the strings the width that they need to look like an actual guitar string. So, I've never been able to figure it out, but, like, there's gotta be some, like, middle ground of, making it look like guitar strings while still, allowing it to be embroidered in a way that it's gonna read like that in the end too.
Yeah. It's tough too because there's so many colors here that are very similar. Like the
Mhm,
shadow part, the mushroom part, and then the guitar is very similar in shade. And then you got the boot here.
mhm.
I don't know. It's just there's not a lot of contrast here. So, from far it might look really muddy. That's the issue. But it is a good, well technically drawn piece. It's just
Mhm.
when you execute it with thread and fabric, it might come out um, kind of mushed. That's
Little
all.
thing, but I like the teeth. I like, how
Yeah,
he did, like, you can
the
see, like,
character's
the
super
background.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, character's super fun. The sombrero made out of the mushroom top thing is cool,
Mhm.
but yeah, it just might be too much technical ability put into it. That's the problem that like New Era won't be able to execute. But yeah, it's a fun piece. It'll
Mhm.
probably vote real well. Stone crown too. Stone red, green red, like a
Mhm.
dark deep green. It's a solid piece for sure. Moving forward, number 12, cash drop. Looks like we got like a tan wheat color with like a olive rifle green. Money bag cash drop. Rusty teaming up again with Seamus. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts here?
It's fun. Um the volume of the bag and everything. The other thing I thought would be kind of cool is to me have like the bag kind of ripped open a little bit and have like some of the dollars like coming out of the bag and maybe going up, kind of
Mhm.
floating, next to the which I guess you do have that stuff, next to it too in the coins, um, which is a little more movement of the bag itself, I guess, and maybe but um, I think it's fun.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
it's a cool piece. Technically, it's real good. I almost wish there was some type of +1, maybe make the bag some type of character, maybe
Hmm.
hide a face in there. You know, turn him into like a paratrooper or something. I don't know, something
Yeah.
that just gave it, um, yeah, a little bit more than just like bag.
Yeah.
Maybe that little tilt, maybe I don't know, something. But
Yeah.
it's a cool piece. Colorway very rarely done with this kind of like wheat and olive. You can see that they're being creative with it.
Hmm.
Definitely, um, solid piece.
Yeah,
But
it's one of the ones like I'll have to go back and read what they've put in the description to see maybe a little bit more about it. And I think the pieces itself look really cool. I guess I just don't. I'm not sure. Is it referencing like is that a term or is it some like a reference to a game or I'm not sure exactly what.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just want to feel that either that +1 or some type of like strong connection to it, right? They're saying like money delivered by drone.
Oh, okay.
Um, Nothing really, just like a cool little, yeah, like
Yeah, it reminds
camo
me of
gun.
like a video game where you'd have like supplies
Call of
dropped in
Duty.
or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. That's why like I would want to kind of like turn him into a soldier or something or
Yeah.
some type of Yeah, just give it a little bit more action, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a solid piece. Solid piece. All right. Number 13, Hellraiser. Levi teamed up with Win. Kind of like a follow-up to his other kind of barber
Mm-hmm.
motif. It's almost like a 3.0. But yeah, what are your thoughts here?
Like a devil barber guy. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The shapes of the strands of hair and stuff, pretty cool. He's got some killer nails.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, it looks menacing. I I don't think I'd want him to cut my hair, uh,
Yeah.
or my lack of hair, but yeah, I think it will resonate with a lot of people that you know. I know that like the barber designs have done well in the past. People like that stuff. So yeah, I think it's done well.
Yeah. It's one of those things that maybe like it stayed so true to the name
Hmm.
almost that you're kind of like, is he like a dealer of some sort or something? It almost doesn't feel too barbarish, but art wise, it's a cool piece. It's cool that he's kind of continuing that kind of barber
Yeah,
theme with the straight edge blade. Um, Interesting they went blue instead of red too, but
yeah,
you know, it's being different at least.
it does. Yeah, it's. I mean, it kind of goes against what you initially think of a like a devil design, I guess,
Yeah,
and I think that's kind of neat. Part of the neat thing about it, you
yeah,
know,
definitely.
blue flames are always a cool uh, imagery, than
Yeah,
just normal red and orange and yellow.
yeah. I can't stop looking at his fingernails now.
Yeah.
All right, moving forward. Number 14, SR-71 Blackbird.
It,
I'm not up to date with my American military. I'm assuming it's some sort of fighter jet at the
yeah,
bottom.
it was like a stealth. I don't know if it's still in action. I'm not sure if it is or not, but it's a pretty cool. I my only real reference is X-Men and their Blackbird. They flew X-Men a Blackbird in the comics, and but that's the nerd part of my knowledge about it.
Yeah,
Um, but I like that it looks like a patch or something
yeah,
to be on the side of the airplane. I don't know if it's immediately readable as a bird. I almost wish it would have like the yellow on the beak or something like that to um, you know, distinguish that part of its face.
yeah. I want to see what a real one looks like too. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing really like menacing about a red-winged blackbird. That's unfortunate part of it. Like black eyes, black beak, black head.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I didn't think to look up the actual what a red-winged blackbird really looks like, but
yeah, yeah,
even another shade of gray, like if you were to take counted the colors that he's got in there, but just another lighter shade of gray to throw some highlights on the beak or something like that, um, just to kind of separate it a little bit.
yeah. Definitely a cool piece. Like you mentioned, it's almost like one of those patches you see like on a parajumper jacket,
Hmm.
or even like a military rank or something like that. Yeah,
Hmm.
I do like the feathers. The feathers get a little bit lost with the red in the background. You almost
Hmm.
don't have that enough contrast. I don't know how you would fix that. Maybe make the background white potentially.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the issue lies in that like the bird itself is not menacing. It's not like a falcon. It's not it's not like a tough bird, so to speak. But he almost looks like a crow almost, right? Like a
Yeah.
raven or something. But yeah, it's cool. He's continuing the Ring Blackbird kind of series. He had the first one, which was super hyper realistic, and then the mascotty version, and then now this one. So
I think it does. I mean, it does what he set out to do. I
yeah,
mean, I think it looks exactly like an emblem on the side of a plane or a patch
exactly.
or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see how well it votes. Number 15, Crystallized Sierra Gons, kind of continuing that like Canada motif that he had during the Letter Week challenge.
Yeah,
This time with the frozen leaf. Normally, you don't see a lot of like frozen leaves because they're like fall during fall and stuff like that.
right.
But still, a cool kind of like a combination of being Canadian and being cold. I mean, yeah, we definitely get the cold out here. But what are your thoughts?
I think this would be really cool if it could use some like metallic threads and stuff.
Yep.
It's such a simple symbol. It's a simple shape that I think do some really fancy embroidery with it, and it could look really killer at the end. Um, I think it's. I mean, it's iconic. I mean, you immediately can read what it is, and the combination with the snowflake. I mean, um, yeah,
Yeah. Definitely a cool piece too. The problem with like pieces like this that are kind of oversimplified, like you won't see the real beauty until they're embroidered.
exactly.
So like I could see them like really doing a great job embroidering this thing. Like the white part super raised, even the blue part super thick blue outline with like a really textured leaf in the middle.
hmm
Probably will look better than it mocks up, but you know,
Yeah, I think that's the challenge too of going through the vote. It's so hard to convey sometimes what you think it's going to look like in the end, and to convince maybe a first time buyer or first time voter or something like that. You know,
yeah,
the how cool something can turn out in the end, even if it's a more simple object or simple design. That
100%.
yeah, I think some of the most simple designs that have gone through production have turned out the best.
Yeah.
It's
Or even
like,
so, okay.
oh, so like when I do something, I always fight with that urge to add more little,
Yeah.
clicks and stuff with the pen tool that I have to, go back and think to myself, is this how is this going to turn out in the end? And you balance that with how people are going to see it on their phone screens on Mondays.
Exactly. You also have like almost like 5 seconds, maybe even
Yeah.
less, to get someone's vote. That's
Yep.
the issue with the votes being on a story sometimes.
hmm
Like people can't really fully get to see the full picture. I mean, I think back to an artist like Hillside Goods and some of the pieces he has that are like one color, but have like a million textures
hmm
inside it. Like those are just so hard to explain or even show on a mock-up that's like this.
But
So
like that element pack that he did, and that one, I mean, that had the obviously the value of coming out already produced and
yes,
through a store and everything. But yeah, those are fantastic, and
yeah,
those going up for vote on Clink. I would hope that they'd go through, but I mean, you're going through stories so quick, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
part of the
I think
challenge.
back to his Whalers logo where it was just like one letter, and the embroidery on that was just so beautiful. But like if you just would have saw that on a
Yeah,
flat mock-up, you might not even give it time of day. But once you see it produced, you're like,
yep.
holy, he's good.
I think we
Um,
saw a lot of that on some of the letter form submissions over the past few weeks.
yeah, definitely. All right, number 16, Shipwreckers in Park. Kind of summoning that kind of like college mascot,
hmm
with a bunch of like the shark and pirate stuff themes that have been doing really well in the shop. Um, you did one with the bad bass too,
Yeah,
kind of in this kind of silhouette almost too. What are your thoughts here?
yeah, I think it's really cool. I really like John's stuff. He's been great for throwing designs out over the years and getting feedback, and he's super knowledgeable about all kinds of cool stuff. And um, I like when I did the Bad Bass. Like I said, I really have always loved this um, era of design, like the college football mascots and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's always been one of my favorite styles, and I think that he did a great job, kind of nailing that too.
My issue with this piece is kind of like the color of the shark. And now he kind of burned the silver slash gray with the outline. So
Yeah,
he ended up making the shark more black. When he makes it look black, it almost looks like an orca. So
uh,
there is this like kind of story floating around with orcas, kind of capsizing boats and attacking boats. You've heard of that, right? I think like
yeah,
an orca fits this better than a
yeah,
shark almost,
yeah,
right? Because you don't really hear like sharks taking down boats, but if you end up in the water, they're gonna come get you. So
right,
I almost feel like if this was a shipwreckers, you almost want it to be some just orca, just you know, killing
yeah.
boats.
He has like really smooth style on the character too, and then when you look at the crow's nest and it kind of has a bit more of a jagged style too. So
Yeah,
I feel like styles kind of clash a little bit, but I think maybe that might be because it's more of a beat up wood
yeah,
type texture as opposed to like a smooth shark. But
yeah. And this shark is begging to be wearing a varsity jacket, not just
yeah,
like a crew neck sweater. But yeah, cool piece. I would shift him to orca, give him a crew neck. I mean, I give him a varsity jacket. Uh, and then just go from there. Just see how that goes. But yeah, cool character. That way, at Orca too, you're not forced to kind of just force these kind of like teeth in there
right,
a little bit. But yeah, it's a. I mean, Ink Park man, he's solid.
yeah.
All right, moving forward, 17 Huntress. Uh, we've seen a lot of this kind of color, kind of this like not so much the beetroot in this colorway, but like the black purple and this like
Hmm.
hyper vice blue.
Yeah,
But yeah, what do you think here?
it's very cute. I the eyes are just like I go to like my two kids like we go through the toy aisle and stuff and see like
Mhm.
stuffed animals and stuff, and they always have those big giant glossy eyes, and I think that conveys that really well. Um, yeah, it's probably one of the like cutest like Clink designs I've seen show up on stuff. I think if it if I'm mistaken, I think it was like supposed to invoke like maybe like Lisa Frank type stuff or something like that, like
Oh,
the
okay.
old like Trapper Keeper stuff. And but
Yeah. I think the first shot she did had like a lot of almost like fire and stuff like that. This one's a little bit more toned down. Um, her her submission includes like this isn't just here for girls, and it's also for like girl dads, boy dads, moms,
mm,
aunts, uncles, stuff like that. Yeah, cool piece, solid. There's no real like plus one to it, but visually it looks cool. Sometimes if you just nail the design, um, it ends up going well. So
mhm,
I don't really have any like thing bad to say about
mhm,
it, but for me, not totally relatable and not totally
right,
something I would jump to get, but it is a cool piece.
yeah,
Yeah. Number 18, steak sauce. Creature and Zach got together to join the condiment challenge. It looks like. But yeah, steak sauce, good little pun there too.
yeah.
Vampire, steak. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Um, be cool if the cork had like
A steak?
a steak. Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
um,
That's what I was thinking too.
I would almost make the wings a little bit like flared out a little bit too. Maybe add
Mhm.
some more width to it.
I
Um,
do like how it's garlic too. Garlic
yeah,
sauce.
yeah, the garlic bulb. Yeah, it's definitely the wordplay and everything is great on it. I like the colorway too. Um, Yeah, I think it's silly, it's fun. The kind of sillier, more like goofy designs always are turn out to be my favorite. Just like and then added in with the vampire stuff. It's always like my kind of design.
Yeah. Another way, I mean, this would totally shift the design, but maybe even kind of turn it, make it floating, and then just have a steak on the ground, like he's
Hmm.
getting ready to pour the sauce on the steak. Just
Yeah,
little play there. I feel like you almost need this area, like this is nitpicky, but to be black. But I guess because he did the
yeah,
outline, that's why he did the gray. You're almost bringing in this random pink color too. You don't see it anywhere else. But that's like nitpicking. Cool
yeah,
piece.
yeah. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, cool piece. Good job, Soundwave and Creature. Number 19, Honey. Kind of like the Smokey the
Yeah,
Bear meets Honey jar. We've
yep,
seen kind of on grocery shelves forever. But yeah, I like how the cap is his hat. That's
yeah,
cool little
yeah,
feature. Yeah, I think you did a good job here.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
This one's really cool. I being able to get all that without any line work or anything like that, and just using like the shape of the bottle and things like that to make it that that kind of honey bear that has been around forever. Be
yeah,
cool to um, if they're like a drip or something like that, or
yeah.
like
Like
maybe
off the
like a
lid or somewhere, maybe a bubble somewhere.
yeah, or like an outline of a bee or something like that, or like I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's cool as is, and I think it gives that you know even though it's not nostalgia, like the stuff's still around, like it feels nostalgic, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Um, just immediately seeing it. Uh, yeah, I really like this one.
Yeah, I think he did a great job. No real notes. He
Yeah,
did a great job. Kind of
I like
shaped.
the highlight on the top of the cap lid, like
Yep.
that light highlight on the side there. Um, just gives like a ton of uh, real life kind of shape
Yeah,
to it too.
and then just that little those little like ticks on the
Yeah,
bottle to show the texture of it. A lot of little tricks,
yeah,
and we've seen him kind of play around in these kind of like monochromatic things too, with like a lot of crystals and gems and
yeah,
stuff like that. So he's a solid artist, man.
yeah.
It's kind of shaped like a gummy bear too, which is kind of cool. And yeah,
I like the little spot. He's got the shaped little spot where you have to stick your fingernail in there to pop it open on the
yeah,
top
for the
there.
lid, yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like it's all there. Yeah,
yeah. It's a cool piece. I love that his hat is the lid.
yeah.
Yeah, good job, Rafael. Number 20, last but not least. So we got like the hot sauce, so another condiment challenge.
Hmm.
Um, see Jake smile.
Yeah,
Jake Smith, good piece, right?
yeah,
I don't know if I love the colorway. It kind of screams McDonald's when I want to see Taco Bell almost with the
yeah,
red and the yellow.
yeah,
But otherwise, it is a cool piece.
yeah. It's such yeah. I mean, it's you can tell what it is immediately,
Mhm.
um, and it doesn't like hit the spot where I think that it may not like go past legal or something. I guess
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
it's definitely like uh, the iconic shape of the sauce packet and um, yeah, the skull and crossbones immediately, even without the hot on there, like I think you could be able to tell what it was. I
mm,
don't think you need anything more, but I mean, there's a way to add in some flames, but that might even be a little too much.
yeah,
A little peek of it kind of poured out the corner where you tear off too.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Maybe some steam off of the hot, like the
yeah,
little drip, maybe potentially just kind of convey that it's hot. Um, yeah, it's a cool piece.
Mm-hmm.
Just for me, immediately when you're seeing it, you see the red, you see the yellow, you think of the burger guys as opposed to the taco guys. But you know, it's a cool piece. I mean, this doesn't have to be a taco sauce either. I mean, it could just be like a hot sauce packet.
Right.
But yeah, it's a cool piece.
I always like that era of Taco Bell where it's like the teals and the purples and stuff.
Teal
like
purple,
that could look pretty cool too.
Yeah, the Live Moss era.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And last but not least, the challenge of the week. So this week's challenge, set forth by the head honcho Casey. He wanted Arcade Week. So any type of retro gaming system, gaming character. I mean, we've seen a bunch of people do like the arcade style gaming systems, but controllers, even TVs, anything electronic and retro and video games. I think we can expand a little bit on that. But challenge of the week coming from Casey, Arcade Week.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think I might have something.
Yeah.
That's been sitting in my iPad for a long time.
There you go. You got a little bit of a head start on the rest of the people. But yeah, full disclosure, everything you see here is AI, and I just put it together for slideshow purposes. But yeah, put together your Arcade Week designs, and hopefully they will get picked up on Critz, and then you can turn around and make lots of money in commission. So, Josh, man, appreciate your flexibility this week. You jumped in, and we're on the show, and we had to change the schedule around a little bit, but you know, we made it work.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Any last words before we depart? Where can people kind of connect with you, and anything new on the horizons for you?
Instagram at Josh Volz, I guess. I have a very poorly updated Dribble account, and so don't even mess with that. Instagram, I guess. No, just keep on submitting, drawing.
Yeah. It's cool now too to see. Now we've done like the challenge of the weeks, kind of like multiple times now. So like, some will make it immediately the week after, but then you'll see some slow drip in. Where if you didn't get in time, and then it's kind of like multiple weeks. So it is cool to see artists kind of get inspired and kind of their take on the same subject matter. So yeah, it's definitely been fun to see everyone do their thing. But yeah, until next time, Josh and Leon, we're out of here. Peace.
Eternal damnation. You're at the end of the world as you know it, my dude. Time is up and you out of mood, so what will you do? It's the BP mercenaries not here to...
Brought to you by VFTV.